All right, event trader here. Just jumping on with Scott, BLUEX, of course. We're going to run through some of these 13Fs and just see if we can find any themes that are going through as we unlock these, and also for any plays that seem to be popping up in a number of the spots. For anybody looking to kind of follow along, if you do a ticker search on INSID, that'll pull up all the 13Fs that we've got posted. Now we limit our coverage. There's other sites out there that provide a little bit more in-depth coverage on this, but we limit it to the bigger players and just kind of leave it at that. I mean, it's a product upon itself if you were to cover all these filings, but certainly some names of interest are going to crop up. So Scott, I hear you coming on right now.
Yeah, I'm here.
And
What's up?
we'll just start going through. We'll keep an eye on the markets as we're talking about it. But first up, we'll take a quick look at what George Soros was doing with the Soros Fund. And we're going to really try to limit this to new positions and closed positions. If there's anything that seems to be popping up as a theme for added at all or anything, we'll certainly mention that. But for Mr. Soros, new positions in the XLF here and Verizon are two areas that are popping off to me. I've got that Verizon holding, of course, so liking the way that stock is looking here, as it's seen a little bit of a sell-off, but really holding on to that 53, 54 area at the moment.
Yeah, it looks pretty decent. And again, the financials, not surprising. I mean, they were the first group to come right out of the gate there in early January with the market rally. They did slow down quite a bit here after their earnings reports, but that was just a consolidation. It wasn't any sort of real correction going on there, and they seem to be garnishing some more momentum here a little bit on this expiration day. So yeah, I like financials as a whole there on that call. And then you said Verizon was the other one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Verizon's, I mean, pays a fat dividend. It's holding the 200-day moving averages right above that 53, 54 area. I like it. I mean, that's just a name that I think I don't trade it, but I do own it in a longer-term investment account for the dividend yield and for their product and stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly why I've been holding it. And if you're looking for a place to add, I think that this area is a good one. Some of his closed positions, and again, this is all through December 31st. He closed out a lot of tech positions: Micron, Microsoft, AMD, Spotify. So really cutting his exposure to the tech space there.
Yep.
And
market slipping a little bit lower, back to the lows here, by the way.
Okay,
so we do have
follow this along with Brett's short in the Qs here.
Yeah, he's up about 30 points right now in that short. It's nice timing on that one, coming down to the neutral zone. So good trade.
All right, and one other name that I want to add from Soros, he decreased his position in Intelsat, ticker symbol I. Obviously, banking some profits here. He's still holding 500,000 shares in it, but obviously following a big run, he was looking to take a little bit off last quarter, it would appear.
Nice. Yeah, I like Intelsat. I know it's turning around a little bit here, and I like the story that you've presented to us over the last couple of months. Yeah, it's a nice one. I like it. I'll keep that on the radar.
All right, next up we're going to take a look at Appaloosa, which is of course run by David Tepper, the new owner of the Carolina Panthers here. Notable new positions, he was delving a little bit into the financials with Allstate and Wells Fargo, so that's an interesting move in there. We got Buffett and Wells Fargo, now you got Appaloosa and Wells Fargo, so that was an interesting one for me.
Yeah, financials. I guess that's a theme there. So the 13Fs, they go back as far as how many days, Gavin? 45, we said.
Yeah, you got to file it within 45 days. So this would have been all activity during the fourth quarter.
This would have been during the fourth quarter, or just right at the beginning of December? Okay.
Yeah, so October 1st through December 31st.
Okay, good. Yeah, so, I mean, Wells Fargo took a pretty hard beating there in December with the broader market, but it's been bouncing back a little bit. But the other one you said was Allstate, right?
Yeah.
ALL.
ALL, correct.
That's actually made a really nice recovery here the last 7 weeks or so. That's up 22% off the holiday low. So that's nice grinding pace higher there. You're going to want to pay attention to that one.
Right. Maybe I was going to say, it looks like he probably would have been adding that towards the end of December. So nice looking trade for Appaloosa there. And then the closed positions. Again, a look at, there's a few, tech names in here. Baba being one of the notables. XPO, which we're seeing getting beat up today, and I guess this is probably one of the good things in terms of following these names, where you saw XPO. I got the chart up, and it really sold off hard into December. Saw a little bit of a bounce back, but didn't really get that V-shaped recovery that we're seeing, and then the bottom just kind of fell out of it following last night's earnings. So I guess this is kind of the activity that we're looking to see if we could pick up in themes where the big money parts ways and you just don't see that bounce, and then the selling could continue to aggressively go lower.
Yeah, I disagree with the Baba. I think that stock was already suffering for quite some time throughout Q3 of last year, and then during Q4 it actually had like double bottoms forming and maybe even triple bottoms down there around the 130 area, and it turned around. I think you've mentioned this one before. You love this one down there on weakness. So it's turned around here. It's struggling with the 200-day moving averages around 170 or so, but I still like the name a lot. So I disagree with that one. And then the other theme that I saw out there too, I don't have an opinion on XPO. I don't really know that one. But the other theme I saw, a lot of selling was going on in Micron, MU. Quite a handful. And no surprise too. I mean, you look at the chart of Micron, it peaked out in the spring of 2018 and just had this like lead blanket offer on every rally attempt, losing over 50% of its value. So not too surprising to see these major funds just closing out their positions and getting out of the stock, as it just was weighing in on their portfolio significantly, which again results in a nice recovery effort here the last 6 weeks after all the big money basically closes out their big positions. They alleviate that offer that's been out there. So.
Yeah, and again, we're going to have to keep a look at. I'll be curious to see who is buying when we get the next 13 Fs. Taking a look at Elliott Management, which is Paul Singer's firm. I got to admit, I'm not really recognizing too many of the names in his added. Encana, obviously, ECA would be the one.
It's a natural gas player, right?
Yeah, exactly. So stock really hasn't reacted too much, but that's the type of position that you'd be interested in, because it kind of gives a little bit more of a stronger bottom to this 550 to 6 support level we could point out.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be more commodity related in that fund. It looks like Devon was another one he increased EVN. It looks like he just maintained big positions in utility stock FE, BTU, HES, Arconic. He's definitely seems to be a little bit more skewed towards energy.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to take a look at Paulson and Company, which is, of course, run by John Paulson. Taking a look at new positions, he had added Red Hat, which I'm trying to remember when exactly that IBM Red Hat deal would have come out.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting ad. I don't know if he was looking at second bid coming in. Fox as well too. I'd have to go back and double check this one, because this Red Hat and Fox, I don't know if something might have been missed on our end, and Sprint as well. So just a number of companies that are being taken over that he seems to have added. So want to do a little bit of a follow up on that. And
remind me, who's Sprint merging with? Are they in talks?
T-Mobile.
Are they?
Yeah, and they had T-Mobile CEO John Laguerre on Capitol Hill this week talking about it. So
I didn't know that was a done deal on that one.
it's not a done deal. That's why I was on Capitol Hill trying to explain their positions.
Yeah. T-Mobile, by the way, TMUS is breaking out to a new high here.
Yes.
After a nice consolidation in the last couple of months.
So a name we want to keep on the radar. He got out of AT&T, which, Scott, as you know, I'm all for that. And CME, he closed out his position, but it wasn't a very big one. He only had about 50,000 shares in CME.
Right.
So Craig sent me up noting Red Hat and spread are just pure arbitrage, so not really notable, which makes sense. But and as we said, he decreased T and CME, so nothing overly interesting out of this one. Next up, we're going to take a look at Glenview Capital, run by Larry Robbins and Mark Horowitz.
Okay. And
there's a name that's popping off the page to me that they entered into, and that's LTHM, which I want to double check to make sure I got the right ticker. I think this is the recent IPO for the lithium batteries, and I really like this play. And the stock's been really weak since the IPO, and but I'd like seeing a big player like this getting into it. So this is one that's going to go onto my radar for sure. Obviously, the chart looks pretty ugly taking a look at it, but is starting to find a little bit of a bottom at 1250. And Scott, this is one of those names that if it started rallying and getting back above 16, certainly could be one that falls into your IPO chart of interest. Just taking a look back at some past commentary. I've seen a few buys out there from people on the name, but I just love it from that battery type of place for the lithium sales. I think it really stands as a possible good name. I would note Dennis in the IPO preview assigned this a grade of an A-. So, this is a name that I'm definitely, based off of this, I think I'm going to look to perhaps start initiating a position in.
Yeah, for me, when I start looking at sectors that I'm not overly familiar with and I'm not really confident about any sort of particular company, I just go see if there's an ETF that's available, and there is a lithium ETF under LIT, that's Larry, Indigo, Tom, and it's trading around $28 or so. It's got like Panasonic in there and everything else. It's also paying like a 2.3% yield. So if this space, I'll listen to Gavin give his research on alternative energy or whatever he thinks why lithium's going to be strong, and then I'll just keep track of the ETF, and then if it goes through any sort of corrective move or good, clean, enticing technical setup, I'll consider just throwing it into my longer-term portfolio like LIT. So.
All right, so
more of a diversified approach for me, to play a narrative that's coming down the road.
Okay, but I'd like that name, and I'm going to start digging into it. Closed positions, Newell, Scott. So he's leaving you holding the bag in that value trap there.
Yeah, it's a value trap. I've admitted that. Even when I got involved with it, 6 months ago, I said, but it's I'm involved with it here underneath $20, back in October or around October. So nice dividend. They didn't cut the dividend, so yeah. And like I said, I have probably every single one of their damn products in my house somewhere, and I feel like I'm always buying something there. So
yep,
I like it.
And no, it's one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? And cybersecurity plays Semantic. SYMC, and on that Newell, you continue to collect that nice dividend, Scott. So
yeah, and again, it's like it's
a
longer term portfolio. So I'm not timing anything here. I'm playing it for the company and the dividend. And until something changes there, I'll just sit there and suffer.
Yeah, and another interesting one, Semantic.
What's the ticker?
The SYMC, cybersecurity play here. So that one's had a big bounce back. So I don't know if he was just flushing it out with that December selling. As we can see, it was a big dip going on there, but that's recovered. And again, taking into consideration that these are from December 31st. So
yeah, this Semantics it's been struggling the last was it 9 months or so, but it looks like it could potentially be making an effort to recover here. It's got to get a little bit more of a push over that 23 resistance area, which is a pretty significant gap, and then maybe it can start going higher. So I might keep that one on the radar. Did you say that was an ad, or?
That was a cut, closed position.
Oh, it's a cut?
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe now, yeah, that's one to keep on the radar.
Again, who knows? Maybe we find it, but he bought it back in January.
Okay. Is that common? Do you see that often?
No, not really.
I figure once they get out,
these guys aren't really day trading this stuff.
Yeah.
And you want to keep an eye out on these increased positions, maintain positions, particularly if you have a portfolio, if you've set up the portfolio on our website. All this information should be getting clicked off every time the news passes. So I highly recommend using that portfolio function on our site. And we could always have Mike Midland run through and do a review on that for anybody interested. So feel free to write into feedback if so. Moving on to Carl Icahn, which according to Momentum rumor people owns every stock in the country. But here it looks like the only new position that he added was TEN, Tenneco. I'm not 100% sure offhand exactly what they do. I know the name sounds familiar, but good looking chart here, Scott. Getting above the 200-day moving average, breaking above that 35 resistance. Gotta like the look of this one, no?
Yeah, it's trying to turn around a little bit. It's, I believe it's an auto parts company, if I recall. It's something to do with the auto industry, I think. I'm just looking it up real quick. But yeah, it's trying to turn around here, but it's not. I don't think it's setting the world on fire or anything like that. So, and Carl Icahn. I mean, I see even increased his position in NWL, which I don't know. Now I think I want to sell it. I'm not a fan of Carl, so
yeah.
We'll see. And yeah, we're on a first name basis. I can call him Carl.
Neither is Bill Ackman, so you could. We'll wait for the Ackman piece to come up. Closed positions in VMware here for Mr. Icahn.
That's a good. I like that one. It's breaking out new highs. So
taking a look at Value Act Holdings, which is Jeffrey Ubben and Bradley Singer. New positions BE, which is a play that commodity trader was in. So I believe he covered it after that post-earnings pop. So also increased his position in Morgan Stanley, MS, which I think is just one of the more under-owned financials out there myself. So I like that. He also added to his Citigroup. So looking to get into a little bit more of the financials and Seagate STX. So that's
nice
an interesting one.
Yeah, Seagate looks like a value trap, though. It's up there with Micron and WDC, but it's got a great dividend. I mean, it's 5.5% these days, and if he was adding it during Q4, he probably had it well over 6% for the dividend in STX, right? Yeah. That's a turnaround play, potentially. I always like that name. I always try to look at that one as well.
Yeah.
I have to put that one in a longer-term portfolio.
And then on the closed positions, another person step into the sidelines on semantics. So, but again, there's two ways to look at it. It's kind of like how I was looking at Baba when you got the headlines that SoftBank had sold its final position. Sometimes it's good news when you see all these sellers out of the way, especially in a semantic where you see it bouncing back. So just because you're seeing these coming in closed positions is not necessarily a big negative for the name. All right, moving on next, Treon Fund, Nelson Peltz. Wasn't in a rush to add anything in Q4. Increases positions in PPG. Maintained a position in GE, which is notable. Wasn't really selling a lot, so just not a very active fund, Treon in general. So nothing really sticking out to me here. Anything on your radar?
Procter & Gamble, obviously, is moving higher. I like Mondelez. I mean, it's more staple-oriented.
They're just maintained positions, so I never really get overly worked up on that, personally.
Yeah.
Wendy's reports earnings, for what it's worth. Another position that they maintained. Wendy's is next Thursday, I believe.
I've liked, the only reason that you said if it stands out, I know Procter & Gamble's been trading up near new highs. I know Mondelez MDLZ has been breaking out to fresh multi-year highs. So they're just standing out at me as stronger names that are out there. So, yeah.
All right. Next up, we got Pershing Square, Bill Ackman, who, if you don't like Mr. Icon, Scott, I assume you're an Ackman guy.
I'm neither, but all right.
Took a new position in Starbucks, SBUX, which I believe hit a 52-week high yesterday, right?
Yeah, I love this play. This is one that I definitely agree with. I think the key thing here, against a lot of these, when it comes to these bigger behemoth, multi-cap, mega-cap names, that are really, that are just the institutions are going to go towards, always pay attention to the monthly time frame, so you can actually get a lot of information out of them. Starbucks has pretty much done nothing for the last 3 years, except for in June of last year, it broke down and dipped underneath the $50 mark. There was no follow-through to the downside. It immediately turned back around, and it's been straight back up since. I love that type of action where it's basically a false breakout on false breakdown on a monthly time frame. Just fantastic. I love this. It looks great, and it's breaking out to all-time highs. It's just going higher.
All right. Next up, we got a gentleman by the name of Warren Buffett that few people have heard of.
I think it's pronounced buffet.
Buffet.
Yeah. Okay.
New position in Stoneco, STNE, financial tech play here, with a 11% short interest and a 94 million float. That gets my attention there.
So my first reaction when I saw
Recent
that
IPO.
was wondering if he has like a nephew that's in the business, or like somebody married somebody, and he's just I don't know. I mean, when's the last time this
a Brazilian tech play? I wonder.
Yeah.
There's another Brazilian tech play. I'm going blank there.
I mean, between the fact that it was an IPO
about it later, I know he'll know the ticker. Going blank.
I was just surprised. The fact that it was an IPO and that it was a foreign company in Brazil, I shocked. Like I said, my first reaction was, all right, what's going on? Who's management? How's this relationship going on with this?
PAGS, that could be the other Brazilian name that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll watch it.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on this one. That's, a recent IPO. Like you said, it could just be his nephew's in there. But interesting to see that one.
Yeah.
And then he also got into Suncor Energy.
SU, right?
SU, correct.
I like that play. It's been beaten down
its 200
significantly.
day. Yeah.
Yeah. Turning around here, it gapped up a little bit today, probably because of that 13F filing. But this has always been an engine name that I've been just tracking. I think it pays a pretty solid dividend too, if I recall.
Well, we're always looking for things that could break out stocks above resistance ranges. So we're curious to see. Holds above that 200-day moving average. You got to like this extending.
Yeah, it was like It was a 4% dividend yield just a couple of weeks ago. So.
Yeah. All right, and he is exiting his Oracle position here.
I don't really have an opinion on Oracle. I think people, from what I've known over the years, I've never owned it or never really traded it. I think I haven't traded in 20 years easily. But this seems like everyone's very bullish on this stock, and if you the people I know are in it for the long haul on this one, so just take a look at the monthly time frame, and it actually is on like a 20-year steady grind higher. It is a slow, thick mover, but it continuously grinds higher and higher and higher. So.
All right. Next up, we're going to take a quick look at Corvex Management. It's under the control of Keith Meister. Not really familiar with the names that they added. Just taking a quick look. WTRH is a food delivery service here. So curious. Waiter Holdings. Never heard of it. I don't know. Nothing really sticking out to me. It doesn't look like it really moves all that much. Can't say that I know what's going on here.
This Zendesk has been ripping higher.
Zendesk, yeah, that's
software name, I think.
Yeah, software as a service name here. System for tracking and solving customer support tickets across various channels. Oh, really strong looking chart though, huh? ZEN is the ticker here.
Yeah, it's just on fire completely. So looking really good on that one. It's shown up in a few of my scans, but the volume is kind of it's just kind of iffy. It's pretty what's the one I'm looking for, volatile name. So I don't really get heavily involved in it too often. But I think I've seen it on GrowX or Liquid Momentum from time to time. Yeah, I think that's about it. And what was the increased position there for that one? I saw that one stood out too. MGM and TM. Oh, and then those three. Actually, I like the MGM. I'm just a casino fan. I like when those names correct. They pay nice dividend yields. T-Mobile, we know this one's breaking out to new highs. And then ServiceNow, NOW. I mean, that's a fantastic trading call. Buying that one up through in Q4, had a great earnings report, broke out like 20 points higher, and just been maintaining that strength. So NOW looking pretty solid.
Yeah. One thing, just to circle back around to Buffett too, got a note, is increased positions, GM, JP Morgan, USB, BK, Travelers, PNC, BAC, so continues to double down on those financial positions as well. Sorry to circle back there.
That's good. How many more we got, Kev?
We've got a few. We'll kind of cut a little bit more to some of the more interesting names here.
Okay.
And one of that ticker that I keep seeing popping up, we're going to look at Starboard Values, Jeffrey Smith, taking a new position in DLTR, but it seemed like there was a few that closed out. Corvex Management was one. There was another person earlier that had closed out DLTR, so Dollar Tree seems to certainly be one where there's some horse trading going on.
Horse trading?
Yeah.
Define that to me. I don't know what that term means.
Just trading different stocks going back and forth within each other.
How old are you?
I'm old enough.
Anyway, yeah, Dollar Tree, right up against.
We can bet a sawbuck on the side to see if it goes up or down.
Yeah. You're trading those Buffalo nickels or whatever they are. Yeah. It's that $100 psychological levels coming into play. You got almost, it looks like 52-week highs right there. So, yeah, it's not bad. I like the DLTR. See if it can break out over 100.
There you go, and Starboard also closed their position in Value Trap Newell, NWL.
Okay. Yeah, no surprise. Yeah.
All right, Omega Advisors, Leon Cooper. And he didn't add any new positions, increased his stake in CVS, TCRD, and Cigna CI. Didn't close positions. Definitely looked like he stepped to the side a little bit on a number of names in the quarter. Micron. Adobe, a few of his commodity plays like Frac and BC as well. So looks like they were. Mr. Cooperman was certainly one to step to the sidelines.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing really standing out too much there except for the Micron sell.
Okay, next up we got Tiger Global, and I want to point this out because new position, STNE.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, that's the Buffett one.
Yeah.
TME2, which you still got the log on that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So STNE is going on my radar, so that's definitely one of my bigger takeaways from this for an interesting look here. Moving on, Duquesne, Stanley, Druckenmiller. We talked a little bit about this yesterday and jumped into that EEM, which is the emerging market index. And we talked a little bit about how that was viewed as one of the most crowded trades by the fund managers in the Bank of America survey. Also jumped into KSS and Delta here.
Yeah, I mentioned this one yesterday. We're going to constantly mispronounce this guy's name. It's too close to Drunken as opposed to Drunken, so we apologize for that ahead of time. But I love all the software names he was diving into. Microsoft, Baba, Netflix, Adobe, Coupa. Coupa was just absolutely on fire. Okta, OKTA, another software name. I like this. Workday, WDA, Baba. I mean, just... Medtronics, MDT, and other medical devices just going
pretty portfolio
higher.
For sure.
I like that. I like him. I'm a fan. I like all the names. He's clearly a technical oriented guy. I'm gonna have to go back and find my Market Wizard's second book and read his interview. So.
All right. Next up, we got Viking Global, run by Andreas Halverson. Adobe was their bet for the quarter here. good chance they got it at a pretty good level. Stock is certainly looking pretty good as it climbs back up through that 260 area.
Yeah, Adobe's pretty solid there. It's a leading software name for quite some time. It did go through a little bit of a correction. It slipped underneath the 200-day moving averages, making a nice comeback here. I can't disagree with that play at all. I love their Salesforce increase, CRM. I think that one is really just a nice play there. And then the shocking one was IQ, that Chinese internet stock that they added to down there at those
I got along in
levels.
that one as well, so
that's the standout for me is IQ for that one.
Facebook, Netflix definitely looked like they were scooping up some of these names later in the quarter on weakness. Closed position in GE, which I find interesting. I'd be curious at where they got in on that.
Okay.
But again, this is it's a good map, but not one that you can follow because you really don't know all this. Jana Partners, and the first name is a play that I'm hoping to get a pullback in. Synopsis or SNPS. That it's the, from my understanding, it's the chip you want to own if you think AI is going to be of any merit. Also opened up a position at CRM, so I love these Jana ads, and it's Barry Rosenstein, of course.
There's a few names that stand out. Like, I love MasterCard there, CRM, like you said. Adobe got an increased position. So yeah, there's some really good, again, software theme going on here, and some financial credit card theme. So pretty good. I like
taking a look at the close, another one that closed out of Baba, another one that closed out of Dollar Tree. Seen a lot of Dollar Tree. Got out of EA too. Smart move there. And SurveyMonkey, they exited the platform for. So next up, we'll take a look at Baupost, run by Seth Klarman. He was buying CBS, who reported earlier today. Scott.
Oh yeah, how that? I didn't look at CBS.
The report was fine. Didn't really see anything sticking out. I think it's all about when they name a new CEO, right?
Yeah, it's trying to break out here a little bit. I saw eBay increased, and eBay's been on the rise as of late. So yeah, it's doing all right. I can't say I disagree with any of those calls. So what else? Anything else stand out?
Just closed position AABA, which is that Alibaba. It's the side name for Baba. So seeing a few people exiting Baba. Next up, Bridgewater Associates, run by Ray Dalio. Add new position FCX, Scott.
FCX, I like that name. I've mentioned it to you a couple
Morgan
times.
Stanley as well, like that. Estee Lauder, we're talking. Estee Lauder was really what tipped me off to Cody. So some interesting buys here. Increases position in Cleveland Cliffs, U.S. Steel. So definitely
limited brands too. LB.
Yeah.
Right. That's another nice dividend paying down here.
LB.
Victoria's Secret.
I'm not
it's about 4%.
Am I missing that?
Which? I think so.
Ray Dalio.
Yeah, it's the first one. New positions, LB.
Okay, yeah.
Bridgewater, right?
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah. Just got some good value names here. Looks like with some nice dividends. So
it's interesting because he's been pretty negative on the markets. So I'm curious to see why he's buying all these materials.
You got to stay invested in the market somehow. You can't just sit in cash.
I get that. I
billion-dollar portfolio.
I'd just be kind of surprised that he's doing it in areas that are more tied to global market growth, right? Closed positions, Comcast, Pfizer, Merck, Eli Lilly. So not a fan of the pharma names. I don't know if maybe the drug pricing concerns weighed in there, but and then the last one that we're going to cover in this segment, Scott, Third Point, run by Dan Loeb. These came out about a week ago, but another person willing to step into that CRM there. Obviously a popular ad.
I mean, this one's been popular for years. You look at the daily chart or the monthly chart of CRM, and it's just been a nice increase. Anytime it gets a correction, it just seems to be bought up, and it's a name in the industry. It's just everyone's using their software. So really nice activity going in there. And then what was that? Campbell Soup that they pick up?
CPB, correct.
That's got to be a value play.
Isn't this the one that you put your mom into?
I think that's the one my mom asked. I told my mom to because the dividend was looking pretty good, but then she said, too much salt content, and everyone that's on high blood pressure her age can't eat Campbell's soup or canned goods anymore. So that's just bad for you with the high salt. Anyway, so 4% dividend yield, so it is somewhat of a value play here, I guess, at this level. But
all right,
it's Campbell's soup, so you're not going not going anywhere with that one.
And closed positions, another BABA close. Now here's the thing, we've seen about 4 or 5 BABAs or Alti-BABAs closed out, yet we're seeing the stock rise. And remember, this is December 31st, it's not a perfect reflection on what's going on right now in terms of flow. But that encourages me even more about BABA, the fact that we see all these funds that just kind of pulled the Red Sea and left town, and yet this is still finding bids now.
Yeah.
Deere too, a position that they left, of course, popular
DE,
name today.
Yeah.
DE.
Okay.
So and Netflix. So
yeah. So definitely, the key thing for me to take away here is obviously we got to determine whether we're not trying to figure out if they're right or wrong or what they're doing. We're trying to find ideas and generate where we should be putting our attention for the next kind of swing trading opportunities or day trading opportunities, because you don't necessarily want to ride the coattails of these people, but you want to know where the liquidity is.
Liquidity. That's the perfect thing I think you're looking at. Scott.
That and research. They have some of the best research out there. So if they like or don't like a name, you tend to, just go after. You just have to watch it. You just put it in the back of your mind. I wouldn't say I actually act upon anything. I always find it ridiculous that Buffett's picks always gap up the next day. You can easily fade them within a day or two, and probably pick them up cheaper a couple weeks from now.
Yeah. The two that I'm taking away
is.
from this little exercise is STNE and LTHM. I'm really curious to take a closer look at those.
My big theme is definitely software, and I've known that already, so I'm focusing in on all that software space. So.
Yeah, but both of us have been pretty strong on that. It's just it's where it is. The first thing I read in The Economist year ahead 2019 was 2/3 of all spending for the tech space is expected to be in the cloud services area. So.
Cool. All right, so that's this segment. Something we probably start doing each, every quarter.
Yeah. Well, we'll do this. Feel free to write in. Let us know what you thought about this. If you thought it was helpful. This is all idea generation. It's not really trying to make calls on anything. Just trying to figure out what's hot out there and what people are watching. And we are well aware that it's some dated information. But again, it's liquidity, as Scott said.
Yeah, and when you use that Talk to Us link at the top of the page, just take note that if you don't include an email, you get pushed all the way down to the bottom of all the emails, all the feedbacks that come in. So you're not necessarily going to receive a response from us, but you just get pushed to the bottom of the list. So if you wanted to take precedence, please include an email, and those make it to the top for us. So thanks for that. This is being recorded, so as soon as we get a chance to upload it, we'll be posting it later on this afternoon, so anybody can go over this over the weekend as well. Maybe look at the charts themselves, and then write into us and let us know what you think, which ones you like or dislike. Thanks.
All right. Thanks a lot, Scott. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.